I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Williams, but we have now completed all of our tests, and the early indications are that April's collapse was due to the onset of diabetes.
Diabetes?
Yes, I'm afraid so. We'll need to keep her in for a few days until we can stabilise her condition.
Hello. Jasper, isn't it? My name's Emma, and I'm one of the team of counsellors here at Central Hospital.
Emma, sorry, yes. They sent me to talk to you.
Well, as I said, I'm one of the team here, Jasper. Now, it's your decision as to whether or not you'd like to talk to me, but it may help you to make some sense of what's happening for you at the moment.
Yes, I see. It's all a bit of a mess, you see. I feel dreadfully alone with it all. It's all out of my control, you see, just out of my control.
All out of your control? Well, maybe talking to me will help you to make some sense of this mess.
Thank you. I suppose... Well, it won't do any harm, I guess.
That's fine, Jasper. So, if you feel that this has been useful at the end of our time today, we can book some more sessions. We can have 10 sessions initially, but it's entirely up to you.
10 sessions, that sounds like rather a lot.
Well, you're offered 10 sessions, but as I say, it's entirely up to you as to whether or not you would like to take advantage of them.
Thanks.
They're completely free of charge. So, if you feel they will be of some benefit, they're there for you.
Thanks. Well, we'll see how it goes, yes?
So, this is your time. Each session will be for 50 minutes. Before we start, I need to let you know that everything we say is confidential within the hospital. If there was a serious risk of harm to yourself or someone else, we would have to take it outside the room. And in some cases, we have a legal obligation to disclose to other organisations. How does that sound to you, Jasper?
Well, it sounds fine, Emma. And I don't think there's anything like that. I may be feeling down at the moment, but I'm not going to do anything stupid, honestly, not to myself or to anyone else.
That's fine, Jasper. It's just important you realise there are these limits to confidentiality. I also need to let you know that as part of good practice, I have regular supervision. Your name won't be mentioned though, so your anonymity will be protected. It's a bit like line management, to make sure I'm working in your best interests.
That sounds reasonable, very professional.
Well, if you're okay with all of that, shall we start by looking at what you said when you arrived today? You said that everything was a bit of a mess and out of your control.
Well, it is a mess, Emma. To be perfectly honest, I just don't know what to do. It's all come as a bit of a shock. Totally unexpected.
Unexpected?
Well, yes. 1 minute everything's fine, well, as much as can be expected, and then all this. It's come as a total shock, and I just can't seem to sort it out.
Unexpected and a shock. Something you can't sort out.
It's my little girl, you see. My April. She's my whole world, and now...
Something is wrong with April?
She's only 8. It was her birthday last month. She was under the weather back then. I mean, well, she has been for a while, really, I suppose. She's been lacking energy, none of her usual vitality. She's normally so upbeat. my little April. She has this lovely smile, you know, and she's always so good-natured. I mean, of course, she can be a little minx at times, but always in a good way. Sort of mischievous, but she makes you laugh. But then she started to, I don't know, she seemed under the weather, sort of out of sorts, restless, tired.
So it's your daughter that is ill, April. She's gone from being a lively little girl full of energy and vitality to being run down, so unlike her, lacking her usual vitality.
Run down and tired, and I didn't do anything. I just thought it was one of those bugs going around. You know what children are like, they'll catch anything. I just didn't pick up on the signs. Even at her birthday, she was distant. We planned it together with her Auntie Sue. I mean, she'd really gone to town, baked this fairy castle cake. I mean, Sue's wonderful with April, but they're both sugar junkies. I mean, I've never really had a sweet tooth myself, but Sue and April, they just go for it. A couple of peas in a pod, those two. She wanted a fairy tale birthday party, so we got her a white horse and a carriage. We even hired a merry-go-round. And Sue did all the food for them. Mostly sugary kids stuff. I suppose it sounds like she's really spoiled. But we only have each other now. I mean, I've got a good city job, but I can work from home a lot so that I can be there for her. Anyway, we got her everything she wanted. But then in the afternoon, she got so tired she had to go and lie down, and that is just not like her. And now this.
Jasper, I just want to check I've really heard what you've said. It's just you and April. You only have each other. You're in a position to have a wonderful lifestyle, and you organised a fairy tale party together. Then she was really tired on the day, so unlike her. And now this. Something has happened.
She collapsed at school, you see. She'd been struggling to breathe, sweating, and then she just collapsed. And it was just really unlucky because I was in the city when they called and I wasn't there when they got her to A&E. I mean, I got there as soon as I could, but even when I did get there, they still didn't know what was wrong with her. And she looked so frail. She looked like all the life had been taken away from her. Like a mother. Anyway, they've done all these tests now, and it turns out to be diabetes. I don't understand it, to be honest. I don't think I've taken it in yet.
So, diabetes, and you're struggling to take it all in. But you also said that April looked frail, like a mother. That felt like it was an important moment.
Yes. Just like her mother. Julia. Julia was April's mum. She was everything to me. We fell in love when we were at the same university. I wasn't very outgoing then. I mean, I'm still not. I don't find it easy being with people. I just sort of get lost in my own little world. I mean, I'm good at my job, but that's the point, really. When I'm doing what I know, when I'm in my own comfort zone, I'm fine. But Julia, she was so full of life. She'd light up the room. Radiant. Sociable. I've always been a bit, well, dull, I suppose. I did stats and business at university. And that's what I'm doing now. But Julia was an artist, so creative, so full of life. We only met by chance, really. One of those chance encounters that changes your life forever.
An encounter that changes your life forever. You were different people, but you connected. Julia was your everything.
I was devoted to her, and she was devoted to me. I know it's cliche, but people say opposites attract, and for some reason we just really related to each other. We were inseparable. It was perfect. As soon as we graduated, we got married, and then we had April.
Jasper, I'm a little confused. You talk about Julia so fondly, your devotion to each other, but you're talking in the past tense.
Julia died soon after we had April. She just didn't have the strength to get over it. And April became my whole life.
So sorry. Must have been so difficult to cope with, losing your beloved Julia at the same time your daughter came into the world just a newborn. Must have been very hard to deal with.
Well, I didn't have time to deal with it, really. I just had to be strong. And what made it harder, in a way, was April looked so much like her mother. And she still does. And I was so completely alone with her. I mean, my sister, you know, Auntie Sue, she's been a big help, and I really could have managed without her. But what if I lose her? What if I lose April as well?
You fear you will lose April too?
She's so much like her mother. That same haunted look. What if she just goes? What if she just leaves me like Julia left me? She's got that look, that same haunted look. I'm really scared now. Scared of losing her. She's all that's kept me going. Stopped me thinking, I suppose. Thinking about how much I miss Julia. If I lose April, I'll have nothing. I can't bear that. I couldn't bear to be left again.
You couldn't bear to be left again.
You know, I've always lost the people I've loved the most. All my life. They left me just as I've started to feel safe and secure. It was my grandma first. Sue's very much like her, in a way, I suppose. I mean, my memories of her are very vague now. She died when I was, what, 5? But I can still remember that she smelt of roses. That aroma of roses always reminds me of her. Such a gentle woman. And then it was my mum. When I was 8. Same age April is now. It was awful. Dad took me to the hospital to see her. I can remember it all so vividly. She looked like something out of a Dickens novel, all pale and white. All the blood drained from her face.
Jasper, can I just see if I've really heard what you've said? The loss of these significant women in your life, these strong women. You were close to them and felt comfortable with them. Women that left you with memories. Let me try and think of the right word. Memories of feeling abandoned, something like abandoned. A sense of loss and abandonment.
Yes. Being abandoned. That's just it. And then, as soon as Mum died, I was sent away. I mean, Dad, he was never around really. He would just stay in the city. So it was only my mum and me staying at the house. And then after my mum died, I was sent away. You know, sent to boarding school. God, I hated it. All that noise. Having to be with the other boys all day, every day.
Sounds very hard to bear.
You know, I think I just sort of retreated into myself after a while. I used to go to the library for a bit of peace and quiet, where I could just get on with my studies. I wasn't very sporty, you see, never into any of all that. Never really had that many friends. I turned into a bit of a loner, I suppose. Then, during the holidays, Dad was never around, particularly. I just got passed around from one place to another. There was no one place I could call home. Nowhere I could really get an attachment to. But then I met Julia. And I started to feel, I don't know, well, safe, I guess.
Jasper, we've talked a lot today about the losses in your life. How the attachments you made provided you with a sense of security, a safe haven, if you like, where you felt held. The losses of significant women in your life have left you feeling abandoned and alone. And we've started to explore the trauma you experienced and the depth of abandonment you felt. Your sense of security was taken from you when you lost your mother. Then you were sent away to schools and passed around between your relatives during the holidays. You formed a secure relationship with Julia and then had to suffer even more loss when she died after April was born. And you haven't had the time or the space to grieve since then. Now you worry you may lose April too. But you do recognise on some level that April will be okay now. She's been diagnosed and she's started her treatment. But on a deeper level, you fear that she will leave you.
It's just... there were so many losses, Emma. And I've been holding all of this inside for such a long time. And, you know, I blame myself, in a way, for what's happened to April. I'm responsible for holding on to her too tightly, indulging her with all that sugary stuff. And it's all out of fear, you know? Fear of losing her, and I nearly did lose her.
All that fear and holding on too tightly.
Definitely too tightly. I can see that now. But where do I go from here? I mean, I can see there's going to be a time when she's going to want to make her own life, and I'm going to find that so difficult to let go.
You know, it sounds as though you're starting to make sense of all of this, Jasper. It's a good place to start. To start by looking at what's happening for you at the moment and coming to terms with how you feel.
Yes. Thank you, yes. It is starting to make sense. All those connections. Who'd have thought it would go all that way back? I didn't realise I'd been holding on to all this for such a long time. And that it's affected who I am, who I actually am today. Anyway, I don't want April to be burdened with all of this as well. I really didn't expect all this to come out.
And how do you feel now it's started to come out?
Well, a bit confused still. Sad. But in a strange sort of way, it's almost like a release, I guess.
That sounds good, Jasper. We're close to the end of our session now, Jasper, and I was wondering how you felt about coming back for more sessions.
You know, now we've started, I'm wondering if 10 sessions will actually be enough.
Well, it's 10 sessions initially, but we'll see how it goes.
So, same time next week then.
Same time next week. I look forward to seeing you then, Jasper.